Ring, ringa, rang, ringer, rungit. Hej allihopa and welcome back to part 2 in my series about Swedish verb tenses. In part 1 we looked at imperativ and presens, and today we are going to keep on building on that foundation. So if you missed part 1, go back and watch that one first, because you will need to know imperative especially if you want to be able to follow along in today's video. And why is that? Well, it's like I told you last time, imperative is the foundation and the building block you need in order to build the other verb tenses in Swedish. So in this video today, we're going to look at infinitive, hjälpverb, and futurum. The goals for today is to learn what is infinitive and how do we use it, what hjälpverb, help verbs are, the most common hjälpverbs in Swedish, and how this hjälpverb can help us create the future tense in Swedish, futurum. By the end of this video, you will understand how Swedish people talk about plans, intention, and the future. So let's begin. Let's start with infinitive. So this is the form that you find in dictionaries, for example, and it's usually written like at and then the verb in infinitive. So for example, att springa, att rida, att äta. And it's the basic form of the verb and it means to do something. So now remember part 1 when we learned about imperative. If you want to make infinitive, you actually need the stem, the imperative, in order to make it. There are 2 ways that you make infinitive from imperative. The first one is really simple. If imperative ends in a vowel, then it's the same. So if imperative ends in a vowel, then the imperative form and the infinitive form are completely 100% the same. Here are some examples. Stå, stå. Få, få. Blunda, blunda. If the imperative ends in a consonant, you implement the second rule, which is that you simply put an a at the end of the imperative and you get infinitive. So for example, the imperative is ät, then the infinitive is äta. You just add the a at the end. Or if the imperative is skriv, then the infinitive would be skriva. Läs, you see it ends with the s, the consonant, then the infinitive is läsa. So you can think that imperative is the base, and from there you add an a at the end if necessary. Simple, right? So here's a mini quiz. What's the infinitive form of the verb läs? Pause the video, write your answers in the comments before you continue. So the answer is läsa. Because läs ends in a consonant, you have to add a at the end. Now let's look at hjälpverb. Hjälpverb are the verbs that comes before another verb, usually before infinitive, and they help change the meaning of the sentence. We use a lot of hjälpverb in Swedish, so they are very common. And here now on the screen you can see some of the most common ones. So we have, for example, kan, vill, ska, måste, behöver, hinner, borde, bör, and so on. So you can see that there are quite many. In English, you call these modal verbs, I believe, and they behave quite similar in Swedish as well. And this is actually why we need infinitive, because after hjälpverbs, modal verbs, the second verb is always written in infinitive. So if you have, for example, vill in a sentence, then the verb that comes after it will be in infinitive form. And this is really important to remember, because if you put another verb tense after hjälpverb, it can sound very unnatural in Swedish. So if you see a hjälpverb in a sentence, just remember, always use the infinitive after. So let's look at a simple example. If you want to say, I want to read. In Swedish, you would say jag vill läsa. Jag vill läsa. So you can see here we have vill, which is the hjälpverb, and then we have läsa in infinitive form. Here's another example. Jag kan simma. Jag kan simma. And here again we have kan, hjälpverb, and then simma is in infinitive form. And notice how the infinitive is always written without att when it's written together with an hjälpverb. So it's kan simma, not kan att simma. So here's the second mini quiz. How do you say in Swedish? He can write. Pause the video and give me your answers in the comments before I tell you. So the correct answer is han kan skriva. Han kan skriva. Now let's look at the Swedish future tense. There are several ways to express future in Swedish, but today we're going to focus on the most common one. And the most common way to express future in Swedish is to use ska, hjälpverb, together with infinitive of a verb. So if you say, for example, jag ska äta senare. Jag ska äta senare. This means I will eat later. I will eat later. Or the second example, vi ska resa i sommar. Vi ska resa i sommar. This means we are going to travel this summer. And this is the most neutral and common way to talk about future in Swedish. You just use ska, hjälpverb, together with the infinitive form. There are actually 3 other ways as well to express future in Swedish. There is tänker, kommer att, and then using the present form of the verb. But I will leave those details to another video. For now, just focus on using ska and the infinitive to express future. And if you're interested, I can make a separate video of the other ways to express future as well, and the nuance differences that there are, because there are some differences. So here's the third mini quiz. How do you say, I'm going to travel next year? Pause the video and give me your answers in the comments before I tell you. So the correct answer is jag ska resa nästa år. Jag ska resa nästa år. If you want to practice some more, try to write some sentences using hjälpverb and infinitive in the comments, and I will check them out and correct you if needed. Remember, practice is the key to getting better. So great job, everyone. Today you learned what's infinitive and how we can make infinitive if we know the imperative form. You also learned many new Swedish hjälpverb and also how to use these hjälpverbs in a sentence. And lastly, we looked at the most common form, how we make future tense, futurum, in Swedish. In the next part, we will look at preteritum, which is the past tense. It's one of the most important verb tenses if you want to be able to tell people what you did. So please make sure to follow and stay tuned for that video as well. If you are learning Swedish or if you are interested in the Swedish language, make sure you subscribe and hit the like button. It helps me make more videos like this. And don't forget to practice in the comments. Tack och vi ses i nästa video. Hej då!